It ain't the left side or the right side, then it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of On the FinSide. We're sitting down tonight with Dolphins' new rookie punter, Stone Wilson out of FIU. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Stone, how's your night going, man? How you feeling being with your hometown team?
Honestly, I really couldn't ask for anything better. You know, I got that call from my agent, about pick 240 came around, and obviously, I knew in my heart that, a punter would probably go undrafted, such as myself. And, pick 240 came around, and I got the call from my agent, and she's like, Stone, you're going back to Miami. I was like, wow. It was really just all so overwhelming, and I was with my family and everything. It was a truly emotional time knowing that I'm coming right back to where I came from. So
having watched the team for a while, I just want to change gears a little bit. Who was the first player that you walked into the building and saw and were just like, wow, I'm in the same locker room as this guy?
I honestly have to say Ryan Fitzpatrick or Kiko Alonso. Seeing Ryan Fitzpatrick, I knew he was with the Bucs for a long time, and he doesn't have a lot of history with being on the Dolphins and everything, but Kiko, he's a huge influence in the Miami area and for the team. So being able to see him, perfect his craft every day, after rookie minicamp, and being able to go to practice with him and just being able to watch him in the training room and all around the facility, that's really what's kickstarting it all for me. I'm like, wow, this is actually really happening, getting to see these guys.
So one thing that I learned for the first time ever when I talked to Brandon Fields years ago was, I basically, and I know a lot of our listeners basically think, okay, punter holds the ball and kicks it. But I found out from Brandon that the punters have a lot of different drops to the ball. Do you have a lot of different ones for those depending on the situation and how you want to kick it? And can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
I mean, in general, there's about 2 drops that most punters would normally take to the field. Obviously, there's some experienced punters that have 8+ years, such as the Ravens punter who has about there's a YouTube video on it. He says he's got 25 clubs in his bag essentially. So I mean, he drops it a bunch of different ways, makes the ball do a bunch of different things, curve in, curve out. But I mean, for me, going through college, all I ever really needed was being able to pooch punt it, where as opposed to holding the ball flat, I hold it kind of more towards an up and down angle so I get a back spin on the ball, and that's for the short game situation where, you want to drop it inside the 20 and, the line of scrimmage is, too close to hit a deep ball. So, you want to hit it high in the air with a back spin and hopefully not put it in the end zone and put them as close to the end zone as you can. And then obviously you have the ball where you drop it flat and, you just try to put it as high and far in the air as you can and, put the other team back in their own territory.
So what would you say is your biggest strength as a punter?
I've been told by pretty much every single teammate that I've ever had that, I really shouldn't just be playing punter. I think it's funny to say that I was the first punter in FIU history to ever throw for a touchdown pass. And I think over my career, I ran for about 3 first downs. So obviously, over time, my coaches, they soon realized that, my athleticism overall is pretty high. You don't find many punters that have that, athletic capability where they can throw the ball and, run really fast. So I think that's one of my strengths, being athletic.
Now, I don't think you did that touchdown pass any justice. Watching the video back of it, I did see that they almost shifted out of an extra field goal formation into a wildcat with you basically running the wildcat there. I mean, was the design to go to the tight end, or was it just, read the field, see who's open, or take off with it if you needed to?
No, that was the original plan. Obviously, if he was covered and I saw that he was covered tight, then I would have to make my own adjustment, maybe find somebody else to throw it to or just take off on a run. But I mean, the way we had the play set up, the way James Villano, special teams coach at FIU, had that play set up is I mean, he was going to be wide open either way, so I had the most confidence. And actually, you know, I give it up to Farrell McKeever. He's on the Steelers right now. Actually, after I threw that ball, I kind of lobbed it a little bit, and you know, he did the rest for me. So.
Well, Chad Pennington used to throw some high arcing passes too, so I mean, you're in good hands there with that one.
I guess you're right.
So tell our listeners a little bit about Stone Wilson the person. Like, what I know you like to spend a lot of time out on the boat. What gets you going?
Honestly, I'm just a really chill and hang out guy for the most part. You know, of course, you know, live in Miami, I get to go out and have fun, experience that lifestyle. And, you know, I think after my first 2 years of college, you know, I kind of got like tired of it and everything. You know, I wasn't doing it like going out to the point where I was, you know, being outrageous, like doing that all too often. Plus, you know, I don't really like going out all that often. You know, where I'm from is like a small town just an hour south of Tampa. So, you know, I live on the water. So like you said, you know, I'm on the anytime the weekend comes up, I'm on the boat or I'm hanging out in my backyard by the pool, you know, just soaking up the sun. So, I mean, for me, that's really about it. I just enjoy football, kicking balls really far, and working out and catching some sun.
Now, just curiosity here. I know you averaged 44 yards per punt your final year of college, I believe. What
Right.
do you think it's going to take for you to win the punting gig in Miami?
I mean, in all honesty, you know, this being my first year and knowing that I'm a rookie, and in all honesty, for me, like I'm really here to learn. You know, if that opportunity comes up and that's what the coaches want to do, then I mean, I'm all for it, obviously. But you know, I really am focusing on, you know, bettering myself and just trying to get the grip of what this NFL lifestyle is really like, and you know, just trying to learn as much as I can from these vets as possible.
I like that answer. I know a lot of our listeners are curious too, so I have to ask you this one. Say as little or as much as you'd like, but what's your first impression of the Dolphins' new coaching staff and front office? I mean, I know you've been there for a very short time at this point, but I know a lot of fans are curious what these guys are really like. What's your first impression with these guys?
I mean, I like them a lot. You know, obviously, I didn't have any relationship with any of the coaches in the past, and you know, never really got to talk to them. And you know, they all got picked up pretty recently. So, I mean, it's in the back of my mind. Like, I know it's essentially their first day on the job as it is mine. You know, because they've only been there for a few weeks longer than I have. But at the same time, you know, they're all coaches and they've been in the game for a long time. You know, we get to meet all the coaches and everything. And as rookies, we have player development meetings where we get to learn a little bit about the coaches that come in and speak to us. So, I mean, like just knowing what these coaches have gone through and basically getting to see what their resumes are like, you know, I know we're in great hands, and I have the utmost confidence on this coming season.
Now, just a couple more questions here. First one, we do have a lot of young listeners, believe it or not. So if you were to give advice to any of our younger listeners out there who wanted to follow in your footsteps, become a professional punter in the NFL, and I'll let that sink in a little bit because I know it's new, but what advice would you give to them as far as what to do, how to be, you name it?
You know, honestly, I think about that question myself. Like I take that question and I think about it like and apply it to myself quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the phrase "follow your dreams" is kind of cliche, and it really is. And also, I believe that it's not descriptive enough to really like give anybody actual motivation. So what I think is, you know, follow your dreams, but do what you have to do in order to make your dreams a reality. You know, put in the extra hours, put in the extra work that not everybody else is willing to do, you know? And, you know, you're going to have those days where, you know, you think everything's falling apart and, you know, you're going to get down on yourself, but you just got to remember, like, if this is what you love, then you're not going to let it go.
I like that answer. So last question for you. Last question for you. We ask everybody their first time through the show. So I'm sure you listen to Apple Music or Spotify or iHeartRadio, and you've got all your mixes in there. Now,
Right.
say you're pulling up to the stadium. There's a few fans outside. There's a couple of your fellow teammates standing around milling about. You've got one of your mixes on, and one song ends. You've got the windows down, the music turned up. Then what is the one song that you pray, if you have it on shuffle, that you've got in one of your mixes that nobody hears and does not come on next? We've all got one.
Man. Probably Ain't No Sunshine.
Okay.
I forgot who it's by, but everybody knows that phrase from the song.
Oh yeah.
The
second you said it, I heard it in my head.
Yeah, right. So I really hope that one doesn't come on.
All right. Well, hey Stone, it's been great having you here. Make sure Dolphins fans, you follow Stone out on Twitter, and hopefully we'll see you at a few games this season. And for those of our listeners out there, if it's not on the right side, it's not on the left side, it's on the FinSide. Solo D, take us home.
It ain't the left side or the right side, then it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side or the right side, then it must be the FinSide. Listen, Dolphins fans across the land all tuning in to see what Brian, Cat, and Paul about to